king or otherwise losing position by BKD7 chapter and QQ5 chapter 36 BB6 chapter 37 KKD5, or 37 KR3, 37 BKD7 chapter, etc. 37 QQ2 chapter and wins, 34 BK6 chapter, 35 K62, 35 Q65 chapter, followed by Q height for chapter, winning the beat. 8. Game I. This beautiful move now wins by force. 9. Game I. For it 29 QQ dollars, 30 RQ square, etc. De Fressen v. Von der Liza. Game 2. Better than Joe. Kilobytes 64, 10 PQ for 11 BX beer, 12 KDXB, 12 QXKD, 13 KD63, and those pawns are even, we slightly prettier white on account of the two bishops and black's weak BP. But 10 BK2 is very weak on account of IIKDK5, IIQQ for a 10 QQ dollars, 12 KDQB4 wins at once 12 KDQB4, 12 KDXKD, 13 KD63, 13 Q64, 14 PQKD4, and wins. Game 2. If 13 BQ2, 14 KDXKD, followed by QK5 chapter, regains the piece with 2 pawns ahead. De Fressen. Game 2. An error which greatly compromises the one game. After 16 PXB circumflex accent slash, 17 KDXB. I7 Q67 chapter, 18 KQ square, 18 QXKDP, 19 RK square, or 19 QR6CH, 19 BKD3, 20 QB square, 20 BR6 and wins 19 BKKDs, 20 QR6 chapter, 20 BKD3, 21 QQ3 chapter, 21 KDQ for white has no defense. Game 2. Fatal. 17. KRQB square, 18 QR6 chapter, 18 BKD3, 19 QB square, 19 KDQ for would have still left him a fair attack for the loss of the pawns, whether or not white exchanged queens. Mortimer v. Saint Bond. Game 3. In the manner of our column by white, we believe, can simplify the game by KDKR3, which avoids all complications arising from the attack of that KD by PK5. Should black answer QQ for, then white may retreat Q kilobytes square, followed by KQ square in reply to QK dollars chapter. Game 2. White could have gained here a very important move by QKD63. Continued on page NI.J. 110 to knight's defense. Game note. I. Move 24 KDQ for XQBP chapter. 1 II asterisk. 14. M1. I. White A and ERSSEN. Game number 2. Move 15 KK to Q3 black von der LASA. White De Fressen. Game number 3. Move 17. BXB chapter. Black Street. Bond. Game number 4. Move 30. RQSQQ, chapter. Black KOLISCH. I effective. IBI circumflex accent. White Mortimer. White Hirschfeld. 2 knights defense. HI. Continued from page 16. FM3. Very fine play and yielding black an excellent attack. 17. AM3. If 18 KXB, 18 PK6 chapter, 19 KB square or 19 QX beer, 19 RK square, 20 Q64, 20 Q kilojoules, 21 KKDB3, 21 QK, chapter, 22 KKD square, 22 QQ8 chapter wins 19. Q64 chapter, 20 KDBJ to XB to IQ KSQ. Exclamation point to I peak XB 22 QX beer, 22 QBSCH. 23 KKDSQ. 23 RQ square, with a winning attack. 18. Aim 3. Q64 chapter, followed by QX if the queen interposed, or by QKD for chapter in reply to KD. Kilobytes 3, was stronger. 10. Game 3. Black has already a draw in hand, but takes his chances on the complications of the attack that followed. 20. Game 3. Feeble play. By R1C square he would, no doubt, have to return the piece gained, but would remain with a piece ahead. 21. Aim 3. The probable continuation is 29pxb, 29qxb chapter, 30k kd square, 30rk4, 31kdx 31kdx kd, 32qba chapter, 32kr2, 33pkr4, 33 kilobytes 4, and wins. Hirschfeld v. Kalish. Game 4. In our call 9 we propose here 12qq square. And we now add the following novel continuation, after 13pb3, 13kdq for, already notice. If now 14pkkd3, 14br6, 15pqqd4, I5bxr, I6kxb, 16kdxkdp, 17pxkd, 17qus, 18pxb, 18qxk, 19qkd63, 1900, 20kdkd4, 20krq square, 21qk square, I21qrkd square, 22kdk3, 22rkd, 23pxr, 23qxb, 24kdxb, 24qxrp, even game. For the white cast minor pieces for the R, black's dangerous passed P on the QR file and the looseness of white's P in the center form a fair compensation. Game 4. Attack and defense have been excellently conducted by both parties after the opening moves, but here we would have preferred 26. Rk square. For it 27kdxb asterisk 27kdxb, 28pxkd, 28pxb, we itch a strong counter-attack. Game 4. Black has hardly anything better. If bxb, white would also answer Rq7 chapter, and would win in a similar manner as in actual play. Game 4. The masterly combination. Game 4. It somewhat spoils this pretty game that white overlooked mate on the move by 37qk6 chapter. Game 4. The mate is effected as follows: 38qkd3 chapter, 38kcj4, 39 page 64 chapter, 39kxp if 39kqs, 40rq square chapter, 40kx, 41qkd3 mate 40qkd3 chapter, 40kqs, 41rq square chapter, 41kk4, 42rqs chapter, 42kps, 43qkd3 mate. But we believe that if black had previously played 37kd63, no mate could have been effected, as black's q4 square would have been guarded, and if 38 page 64 threatening bxkd to mate, 38.kqs, etc. Page k for pk4. Game 5. / Ikentna Congress. Bird tschigorin. PBKD5 chapter. DPB3 GP BP 9. Expir. Court K. KDKD 428. In page KR3 Luo for KDB3 14 KDBS. / R page QKD3. L and KDK4. 29. 17. 18. KRKSQ 0030 QKDXBPXKD. Greater than K2 31 KDXB PKD3 32 YP for asterisk 1 RK3 QRKSG.33 FIFIC RKSQ. RKRSG. Phi up KR for QRKDSG. FL for QKD3 and underscore KDQSQ. 34 underscore K6D 35 negative for 36. 2 Knights defense. KKDB3. QXBTH. OOKDK3. 37. Game 1 condid. Then circumflex accent XRUARXB not QQS 0/IP underscore R5BQ to 38. 33 PR6 and wins. BB4 TB3. Game 6. Correspondence game. Basel CC. CREFELDC.C. J asterisk 9 asterisk 39. Game 7. Salvioli. Morphe D. Riviere. 020 KDXBRKSQ. J circumflex accent BK to 48. PQ for underscore QKDB3. QXBKDB3 KDK4 50 KK to 51 QKR for KDXKDK3 KDB3. 50 to KDXKD PKR3 for OBB6 53 KDXBD 41. KRSQ. 42. LL. Circumflex accent / JKDQ to 43 R underscore KUXB chapter. K tilde T. Square. KK to KDQS chapter. KDB square. QR5K Q circumflex accent 1 UP KD 6D left for Q54 17 circumflex accent 1 / RKD square PQRQ squarely BKD2 NQQ7 chapter BBSQ 8344 FDRDPB6 T6455 K6D56 57 VAB4 PPKBSG 450 full vertical line CKD300 RK square P by chapter underscore R square Queens vertical line QQ3 chapter B346 IB the I R kilobytes square 9 packet B for chapter 0 and wins 47 game 8 Cook McConnell ZUKER the party dot KDQB3 circumflex accent BKDs 5L5 QPXBKDXB and DXB chapter KXBPQQ5 chapter KK square QQXKKDOJT circumflex accent INQQR4 1100 4 6JQRQ square 17D61 page KD4 6J KDR for NQB KD4 KDB50IQRK 2 10 passing 27 RKD square RQ2 RXBD 29 P tilde R7 6J 2 Knights defense 113 Bird v Skagoran Game 5 Our notes to this game are chiefly quoted from the appendix to Gossips Manuel /YJS Lipschitz 10 PQ for IIPXBE / 12 KDX Q3 12 BQ3 13 KDQ2 followed by KD 63 gives white an excellent game with a P ahead. For should black attempt 13 BX then would follow 14 PKKD3 14 BX 15 PXB 15 QXB chapter 16 KD82 and should win. Game 5 White would have done better first to prevent the entrance of the hostile KD by PQ KD3. Game 5 17 BK to 17 KDQ 6 chapter or 17 KDB6 chapter 18 KB square etc. 18 PX KD 18 PX 1900 was far more favorable for white. Game 5 if 19 PB3 19 BB4 CH 20 KR square 20 QK to with a winning attack. Game 5 20 KVX 20 Q64 21 P kilobytes 3 21 QKR4 22 PX KD 22 QR7 chapter 23 KB2 23 QBSCH or to 3 QR5CH 24 PKD3 2 for BXBCH if 24 QR7 chapter 25 KB3 25 QXQ chapter 26 KXQ 26 RXKD chapter 27 K63 with a B ahead 25 KKD2 and should win. 24 KKD square was by far better playing. For black's best plan would be now to draw by perpetual chapter. Game 5 Bill judged RKR square followed by QR kilobytes square was much better. Game 5 Premature RR3 was necessary for the defense. Game 5 The real master coup which forces the victory in elegant style. Game 5 if 26 QPX 26 KDXB chapter 27 KDX KD 27 RX KD threatening RX KDP chapter and wins. Game 5 Beautiful play which finishes off the quickest way. Game 5 32 RX beat followed by KB square if white replied QX was also good enough. Basel Chess Club v Crystal Chess Club Game 6 Compare columns 37 to 42. The same positions may arise in the Scotch Gambit by a position of the 3d and 4th moves on each side. Game 6 Inferior to 10. BQKD5, which, according to the handbook, would lead to an even game thus, 11 KDX UQXQ, 12 KRXQ, 12 KDX 13 RX 13 BBK2, 14,664 140 own, 15 BX 15 KRQB square, 16 BQ6, 16 BX 17 KDX 17 RX 18 KDX, 18 RX KDP, etc. Game 6. A fine sacrifice, which, we believe, is warranted by the position. Game 6. If 12 PXB, 13 KDXB not 13 KDXB chapter, 13 KK2, 14 KDKD3, 14 RQ square, etc. 13 PXKD, 14 KDXBP chapter, 14 K62, 15 QQ7 chapter, 15 BK2 or 15 KXKD, 16 RPCH, I6 KKD4, I7 page R for chapter, 17 KX, 18 RKD6, and wins I6 QXPCH, 16 KKD2, 17 KDQ5, followed mostly by RK3, with a fine attack. Game 6. This loses speedily. Their game was, however, very difficult, and, we believe, could not be retrieved without some loss. Probably the best defense was 13 RKKD square, and after 14 QRQ square, 14 BK2, whereupon, no doubt, White would get the advantage by 15 BX. But it should be noticed that if White continued 15 BX beat, 15 KX beat, 16 KD65, Black would break the attack by 16 QRQ square. For if White replied 17 KDX, Black wins by QXR chapter. Game 6. The best plan which simplifies the game with enough material to win. Game 6. Excellent play and quite decisive. Game 6. After 25 RKDSQ. 26 QKD6 chapter, 26 KKD square, 27 KDK8, 27 QKD4CH, 28 RK2, 28 R62, 29 KDXB, followed by QK8 chapter. White's game would play itself out. Game 6. For if 28 K64, 29 RKD6 chapter, if 28 KKD4, 29 QQ chapter, etc. Morphy v. D. Riviere. Game 7. 5. B64 leads to a variation in the Buico piano, known as Max Lang's attack. The move in the text is not good. Game 7. Ish 6. KDX, 7 KD65, 700 or 7. PKKD3, 8 QQS plus, or 7. PQ for SKDXPCH, 8 KPSQ, 9 QBKR6, 9 KKDSQ, 10 BXPR, 8 QKD4, 8 PKKD3 or S.KDKD4, 9 KDXDCH. 9 KDR6CH. Plus. Continued on page 115. Tonight's defense. Game number 5. Move 25. K6. Black TSCHIGRIN. Game number 6. Move 12. KD kilobytes 3LP Black CREFELDCC. White Bird. White Basil CC. Game number 7. Move 19. PK6. Black D Riviere. II for / JLMIIN. 411. Game number 8. Move 28. Black ZUKER Leonardi. Circumflex accent IM at IGM /M circumflex accent VTD 77X circumflex accent 52 /V% II circumflex accent PW circumflex accent L. White Morphy. White McConnell. Tonight's defense. 115. Continued from page game 7. Which only ultimately leaves a further mark for the hostile attack from the dangerous KDP. PQ3 was much better. Game 7. Excellent play which provides against Black's entrance of KD5, after page 94. Game 7. Of course, if 9 QKD5, 10 PK5 wins apiece. Game 7. An ill-judged move. The square of QB4 ought to have been reserved for the entrance of the KD in order to weaken the adverse attack by PQ3. The retreat of the KDQ2 at once was, therefore, by far superior. Game 7. A very weak move which creates a dangerous hole in Black's king's side. Either KD3 or BQ2 were much better. Game 7. A much better defense was 18 KD2, for it 19 PK6, 19 KDPX, 20 PXB chapter, 20k Xp, 21q XRP, 21q63, with a good game. Game 7. Beautiful play and winning by force. Game 7. Quite good enough, but the more simple initiation of the final assault by 2 peaks KDP would have finished sooner, and also might have led to attractive brilliancies. For, supposing 20px KDP, 20px if 20 RK2, 21 R67 21 RXR, 22px RCH, 22k 23 QR dollars chapter, and wins. Or if 20.PKR3, 21BX 21PK4, 22QR5, etc., 21R67, AIKXR or 21BKD2, 22BX and wins 22QR7 chapter, 22K63 if 22 BKD2, 23RB square chapter, and wins 23LB square CH, 23KK4, 24 664 chapter, 24K63 or 24 KQS, 25 KDK to make 25 BKD3 dis chapter, and makes next move. McConnell v. Zucker toward 58. Game 8. The same position may arise in the 4 knights game, the Petrov, in Theta Piano, and King's Bishops opening. The game between Seymour and Steinitz proceeded from this point thus, for KDX 5 KDX KD, 5 PQ for 6 BKD5, 6 PX KD, 7 KDX 7 QQ for 5 8 BX KD chapter, 8 PXB, 9 KD for 9 BRs, 10 KDKS, 10 QQ5, 11 P kilobytes 3, 11 B64, 12 PX 1200, 13 PQ3, 13 P kilobytes 4, 14 Q63, 14 QRK square. For continuation see game terminations. 59. Game 8. Superior to KDOJ, or OOGO. Game 8. Much inferior to 9 POJ, which establishes black's center. If then 10 BKDs, 10 QQ2, followed by Q64, gives black a splendid game for the ending. 61. Game 8. In another game between the same players occurred and KDX then QK to 12 P kilobytes 4, 12 BQ2L, 1300, 13 KDX KD, and wins. 62. Game 8. An unsound sacrifice, but black's position is already inferior. Another game between the same players proceeded. IIQOJ, 12 RK square, 12 KB2, 13 KDX. Chapter, 13 KDX KD, 14 B64, 14 KDB6 chapter, 15 PX KD, 15 QKD3 chapter, 16 KR square dot plus 63. Game 8. Weak. QB2 at once was obviously far better. 64. Game 8. Much stronger was 18 PQB4, 18 PQ5, 19 RXKP, 19 KDXR, 20 QXKD, 20 PQKD3 or 20. RK square, 21 QXQP chapter, 21 K63, 22 QXRP, 22 QXP, 23 PKDs, 23 QKD4, 24 QQ4 plus 21 QKD5 chapter, with an irresistible attack. 65. Game 8. Necessary in order to prevent RQ dollars. If, for instance, 21 KR square, 21 ROJ, 22 RKKD square, 22 RKD3, 23 QR4, 23 BKS, 24 RKD3, 24 QXP chapter, and makes next move. 66. Game 8. Black's ladder play with the exchange behind is exceedingly fine. He has now managed to obtain the winning position, and forces the gain of a piece by a very clever maneuver. 67. Game 8. An extraordinary fault of omission which costs a 1 game. After 27. RQ3 at once, white could hardly hold out long, for if 28 RKD, 28 QKD3, or Q63 kept black's game well defended, and white's RP was bound to fall immediately, whilst as regards the other pawns on the queen's side it was only a question of time. 68. Game 8. White takes advantage of the error in an ingenious manner, which, in turn, gives him a forced 1 game. 69. Game 8. This is now too late, but nothing else was of any avail. If 28 KDXR, 29 QX80, 29 RB2, 30 period, 30 RX, 31 QKD8 chapter and wins. Or if 28 KDQ3, 29 RKD6 threatening PR7, etc. 29. Q63, 30 RK8 chapter, 30 K62, 31 RX80, 31 R, or Kiksari 32 PR7, and wins. 70. Game 8. Promptly and cleverly deciding the game. Petrov's defense. The German handbuch states that this opening is already mentioned in the Göttingen manuscript and is also noticed by various later authorities like Lopez, Selenius, Lawley, Ponsonny and others. In practice during our present century it was first favored by the Russian master Petrov, after whom it is named, and it received its first extensive analysis in the French chess journal La Palamède in 1842 at the hands of the Russian author Janisch. It is generally adopted for the purpose of avoiding the complications of other variations in the King's Knights opening, like the Ruy Lopez, the Evans Gambit, the Scotch Gambit, etc. As regards its merits as a defense, various authorities have expressed different opinions on the subject, but all agreed hitherto that 3 KDX was White's best continuation, though it was generally admitted that this line of attack only retained the advantage of the first move by proper play on the other side. We think, however, that the superior position at least can be proved for the first player by the attack 3PQ, for which has hitherto been almost ignored. Column I with the notes shows the most feasible line of defense, and the variations springing therefrom leave the game considerably in favor of the attack. Column II is already given in Cook's synopsis, and in consequence of Black's questionable fifth move, White gains a clear piece without sustaining any disadvantage from having to move his king. It is, however, White's best plan to be satisfied with the piece, for though he can win the piece by force by a deviation on the 8 move treated in column 3, the counter-attack on the other side becomes so formidable as to make White's game untenable. The variations we give in our notes are samples of brilliant tactics, comprising even the early sacrifice of 2 pieces, which is made possible in consequence of the bad position of White's king. Column 4 deals with a line of play which some authorities declared to lead to an even game on the assumption that White on the 6th move should proceed with QX, but the modification which we suggest gives White an attack similar to that arising in the Horwitz and Fraser variations of the Scotch Gambit, but as will be seen especially from our notes, which are fair illustrations of hunting and even catching the queen by means of attacks from minor pieces, White obtains a much stronger attack than in the above-named variations of the Scotch, and this is chiefly due to the loose position of the adverse KKD. Column 5 is an offshoot of the last, tending to show that the device of retreating QQ square, which may be adopted in a similar position in the Scotch Gambit, leads to the loss of a piece in this instance. In column 6 we also present a novel line of play which shows the decided superiority for the first player in a variation which most authorities held to produce an even game. Our alterations in the demonstration commences on White's 6th move, for which generally 00 was recommended, but we think that our substitution will be found an improvement, as after the adoption of our proposition to play 6BKD5 chapter, all the moves for the defense appear to thus forced, whereas after 600 Black might reply 6. KKD63 with good prospects of equality. In call 7 we present a variation which ends in brilliancies, though at starting, Black has only adopted the resort which for a long time has been recommended for the defense against the usual line of attack. White's KD, however, which has taken the KP on the DP fence 117, 51 move, is an inconvenient fixture and passant. We may state that we did not consider it necessary to investigate the consequences of 5px, which is opposed to our general principles, and we may merely state that 5 kilobytes QB4 or KDB4 are equally good answers to produce an even game against that move, and we show that Black, when trying to get rid of that KD, gives his opponent complicated sacrificing opportunities which we believe ought to be in favor of the first player. The next column is of a similar character, and instructive tactics will be found in Note 23, proving, we believe, the superiority for White, who has sacrificed a piece. Columns 9 and 10 also apply the test to lines of play similar to those which are recommended for the defense by authorities against the attack 3 kdx. But to the best of our judgment, the second player cannot equalize the position if white played properly. In Call 1-1 we at last thread into the path of the old attack, and we think that especially the new simple move 8 kd63 ought to help black to an even game. In Call 1-2 we show the result if black adopts the old line of play and we add some new moves with notes to the main variation which is already given by the various author. Id white's up to black's 10th move, but it should be specially noticed that whereas 6 kd qb3 is generally marked as best in the books, we query it in the usual manner, and we may add that we consider its inferiority hardly questionable. It should be added to this variation that if 11px 12bxbt 1200 13 kd square gives white equally the superior game. In table III we introduce in Call 13 the move RKSQ. On the 9th move, which we consider a means of attack well worth trying in various forms of this opening, though hitherto it has escaped the notice of theorists and practitioners. On white's 6th move in this variation, we recommend the advance of page 65 in order to confine black's pieces. Though this is very rarely good in the opening and has never been mentioned yet, in any of the variations of this debut, we think our demonstration proves it to be sound in the present position. Call 14 tends to prove that black cannot fortify his kdb9. Page 64 without fatally compromising his game. Call 1-5 is a suggestion for the attack from a game in the German handbook CJI by 8. RK square in lieu of the more common 8 page 64. We consider that \the I gets considerably the best of the position by this line of play without breaking the pawns on the Q wing. Call 1-6 is remarkable, as up to black's 10th move it occurred in a celebrated game played by correspondence between Pest and Paris, and the play on both sides was accepted as the standard for this form of the opening. But our suggestion of 1-1 kdb3 gives, in our opinion, the second player a very good game, albeit in some of the variations he comes out a piece behind. In reviewing Call 17, which in conjunction with the notes, rejects the old authorized attack and suggests a new one, it should be added that if 8 kilobytes qkd5, 9bq to 9bxb, 10 qkdxb, 10 page 64, 11 kdx, with the superior game. In Call 1-8 we differ from authorities who recommend 7b kilobytes for, which leads to an even game, whereas the process we suggest may be briefly dismissed as showing a superiority for white who has a piece strongly fixed in the center and his kdb advanced for the attack. In table IV an inferior defense 3 kdx is dealt with in column 19, and some instructive niceties of play will be found in the notes thereto. The next columns of that table show that black may adopt 3 qk to with impunity, and as no more than an even game can be opened against this little practice defense, this ought to be an additional reason for discarding the attack 3 kdx as inefficient in comparison with 3 pq for the 1-8 Petrov's defense. In the Cochrane attack for kdx in table V, we reverse the judgment of previous writers, for in calls 25 and 26 we advocate lines of play which have hitherto been condemned. In the latter column the movements of the king in the middle of the board form an interesting novel feature. In Call 27 we think that we are giving proof by a new line of attack, 9pqb3 that the move 5.bk3, heading this column, does not release black's king from all difficulties as quickly as has been supposed, on the assumption that white must play his kdqb3. Our modification gives white's queen more scope for action on her own wing. With Call 28 the line of play commences which is usually treated in the king's bishop's opening, but in order not to defer our readers to the second volume we have devoted at once attention to its chief features. Most authorities hold that 3b64 in this opening is theoretically unsound, especially if followed up with 4q-kd63 after 3.kdx. But though we agree with this judgment we differ as regards the demonstrations. We lay most stress for the defense on the move pqb3, which should be adopted as early as possible, not alone for the purpose of driving back white's kilobytes, but also with the object of providing an exit for black's king at QB2 in anticipation of his being driven to queen square. Columns 29 and 30 contain corrections of authorized lines of play, but we thought the variations pointed out in the last note of that table especially remarkable, as it contains the fine sacrifice of the cue which in practice would be likely to succeed, since even the analytical demonstration of the unsoundness of this sacrifice appears very difficult. In columns 31 and 32 of table VI, we endeavor to demonstrate that 7. Page 63, and not 7. PQ3 is black's best move. The former has been neglected on account of a fanciful sort of attack supposed to be at white's disposal by the sacrifice of a rook. We believe, however, that too much material is given up for an attack which simply rests on the preparatory coup de repose, 10 QK2. In our opinion the defense ought to win, though most of the book variations end in favor of the first player. We also disagree with the demonstrations hitherto attempted. For the defense 9. Q64, which was held to be dangerous, appears to us the best and in fact the only one, whereas 9. Q3, which was supposed to give black the best chance of prolonging the fight, is, in our opinion, altogether untenable. In call 33 the inferior defense 5. PQ3 is taken up, and from black's 8 move, we investigate some new additions, comprising the feasible defense which cannot be easily met. Call 34 is already well known to theorists and retains the main idea of the attack against 5. PQ3. In the next two columns, the continuation of QK2, we again differ entirely from the old authorities in the conclusions we draw from the continuations arising after for QK2, in reply to 3. KDXB. 4 by the new move 5. BK3, which we adopt for the defense, we think we prove a clear superiority for black, whereas we maintain that the authorized move 5 kilobytes QB4 leads only to an even game by best play on white's part. Petrov's defense 119. IK4 120. Petrov's defense 1. Petrov's DFENCK 121. 1. L. I. After 5QX 5 page 0.4, 6 PXBEP, 6 KDXQL, 7 QBKKDs, 7 PK.B3, 8 QBKI, 8 KD63, GQQ2, white has hardly any advantage. L. I. Or 7 underscore 00, 8 QB kilobytes 4, 8 POJ 8 PQ for 900 with the superior gam, or 8 KDK.3, 9 KDX 9 BPX 10 BKD3, and we prefer white 900, 9 POB3 or 9 BQ2, 10 KKDKDs, Coyote BKD4, then BXB, and QXBCH, 12 KKD square, 12 BX 13 KDXB plus ICK KD square threatening PX followed by KKDB3 with an excellent position. L. I8. BPX 9 QR dollars chapter, 9 PKD3, 10 QKD4, followed soon by PKR4 with a fine attack. L. I. Obviously black dare not castle on account of the R6, and if 9 PKKB3 white will obtain an excellent attack by PKR4. L. 2. 6 KDQB4 is altogether out of question on account of the replied PKD5. 6. L. 3. The seductive move which wins a piece, but subjects white to an irresistible attack. 7. L. 3. No better is 9 KDX 9 PX 10 Q60 for chapter, 10 KR square, UPX or 11 QXB, 11 BKD5CH, 12 BK2, by 2 BXBCH, by 3 KXB, 13 circumflex accent 63, 14 QX 14 QRs, 15 QX 15 QXB chapter, I6 KQ square, 16 QX P, 17 RK square, 17 QKD5CH, 18 KQ2, 18 R67 chapter, and makes next move, 11 BKD dollars chapter, 12bk to best if I to page 63. 12pxb wins 12bxb chapter. 13kxb, 13qr.5, with a winning attack. For it 14pxkd queening, 14qkd5 chapter and max in a few moves, and if 14qxb, 14rxb chapter, 15kk square. If 15kq square, 15qkd5 chapter, etc. 15rxkdp dis chapter. 16kq square, 16qkd5 chapter and mates next move. 8 l 3 negative 10kdxkd leads to the same position as in the previous note, and if 10kd67 chapter the game might prost 10rxkd, then qxr, then kdxch, 12kk to 12kdxr, 13pxb, 13qq2, 14pxkd queening if 14qxq, asterisk for kdxq and should win 14qxq. 15q kilobytes 4 obviously J best as black threatens the fatal q65 chapter 15bq2, 16bq2, 16qr for chapter. 17q63, 17rk square chapter, 18kq square, 18kdb7 chapter, 19kb square, 19bxb chapter, 20kxb, 20qkd for chapter. And makes next move. 9 l 4. There are other defenses which, however, do not improve black's position. If, for instance, 8qkd63, 9qkd63, 9kdxkd, 10qxkd, 10q64, 11qk4, 10pq3, 12 kilobytes qkd5, 12qkd3 or 12 p kilobytes 4, 13qr for ch, 13bk to 14qbkkd5 and wins. Or if 12kdqb3, 13bk3, 13qkd5, 14bxkd, and wins. For, if 14pxb, 15bkd5 chapter and mates next move, and if 14qxq, 15bxq having one apiece, 13bk3, 13q for if 13pqb4, 14pqkd4 with an irresistible attack 14qrq square, 14p kilobytes 3 or 14pqb3, 15qxkd, 15pxb, 16bkd6 chapter, 16qxb, 17qk8 chapter, 17k62, 18kdq5 chapter, and wins 15p kilobytes 4, 15kkdq2 if 16.pqb3, 17pxkd, 17pxb, 18pxbp, 18pxb, 19bq for and wins 16pqkd4, 16qr6, 17qbqb square and wins 10 l 4. Clearly if nqxkd chapter, white simply takes, and the kd dare not retake on account of the impending mate by rk8 chapter. 11 l 4. Continued, 14pqr3, 15bq3, 15kdkds, 16kdkd3, 16q60 for chapter, or 16.qkd5, 176bs plus, 17bk3, 17qqr4, 18 page 65, 18bq2 if by 8.bq for, 19b, kd5 chapter plus, 19kd5, 19bk square, 20bq for plus, 12 l 5 ish 6 dot pqb4 7rk square 7qkd63 8kdxb 8kkdxkp 9kdxkd 9qpxkd 10p kilobytes 4 lock kd3 ubq3 iibk3 12 page 65 plus 13 l 5 continued 14 dot kd3 15 kxk 15 kdxq 16 rxkd 16 rq8 chapter 17 k62 17 bkd5 or 17 dot kb square 18 rk square plus 18 kd63 18 r8 19 qkd3 plus 14 l 6. Black has to guard against the loss of a p threatened by px, and if 8 page 65, 9qk to threatening px, 9qk to 10 rk square, plus, and if 8px, 9qx 9KKD83 or 9PQR3, IOQXQP plus 10RK square chapter, log K2, IIKDB3, up or dot 3, 12BR4, 12PQKD4, 13BKDs, 13KDKD3, 14BKD dollars plus, for if 15. Dot 00, 16RXB and wins, or if 15QQ3, I6RXBCH, 16KXR, 17QXQKD and wins, 15. KL, 6. Obviously if 11BK to 12PXB and Black's QP will also be weak. 16. KL, 6. Continued, 13PR3 or 13 page 65, 14 RKS plus, or if 13PXB, 14QX, 14PR3, 15RXB, 15QXR, if 15KXR, 16KDX. Chapter, 16KB square, 17Q65 chapter, 17KKDSQ, 18BXKD and wins 16KDXP, 16QQ3, 17BXKD chapter, 17PXB, 18RQ square, threatening KD6 plus, 14BXKD, 146X6, I5PXB, 15BXKD, 16PXB, 16K62, 17Q_Q4 plus, 122, PKIPK4, 8, Petrov's defense, KKDB3, 9, KKDB3, 10 11 KDXB 12, BQ3, Petrov's defense, 123, KL, 7 we prefer this to 6PQB4, 6PQB3, not 6. BKD5 chapter, 7KB square. L and if now 7, PQB3, 8PXB, and the Q dare not retake on account of kilobytes QB4, nor can Black resort to PXB on account of the replied QR for chapter. Likewise if Black plays 700 the replied 8QKD wins at least a piece, for it then 8PXB, 9QXB, wins a piece, 7PXB if 7QKD83, 7KDXKD, 8PXKD, 8BXKD, 9PXB, 9PXB, 10BXBP, locked with a good game 7. QR for chapter, 8KDQ2, 8PXB, 9BXKD, 9BXKD, even game. KL, 7. Superior in our opinion to the exchange of pawns which releases Black's QKD for a better post at 963. KL, 7. If he wait till White has advanced P kilobytes for it will be worse still, for then the opponent will evidently retake with the BP with a much superior game. And if 9P kilobytes 3 then 10 QRs, 10 PKR3, IIPXB, IIPXKD, 12 QBKKDs, 12 QKSQ, 13 PR7 chapter, 13 KR square, 14 BKD6 to chapter and mate's next move. KL, 7. 10 PXB, then BXB, IIQXQ, 12 RXQ also leaves White with much the superior position. KL, 7. Obviously if 12 PXB, 13 BKD and wins. KL, 7. Might be continued 14 RPXB, 15 QXBCH, 15 KRSQ, I6PXB, I6 RXB or 16 KDXB, 17 QRK square, 17 QK to 18 RK3, with a winning game, 17 QR chapter, 17 KKD2, 18 QRK square, 18 QK square, 19 DXR chapter, 19 KDXB if 19 KXB, 20 QR6 chapter, 20 KB2, 21 RK3 plus 20 QKD5 chapter, 20 KR square, 21 RK/J, with a winning game. KL, 8. Continued 14 QQ for 15 R64. It is noteworthy that White may also obtain a draw at least by 15 BB6, 15 QKS, if 15. PXB, 16 R64, 16 RQ square, 17 QR6, 17 PXB, 18 RR for 18 page 64, 19 QB6, and wins 16 R63, 16 QKD3, 17 RKD3, 17 QXQ, 18 R X. Chapter, 18 KR square, 19 RX Vidis. chapter and draws at least 15 kdq2, 16 qrb square, 16 p kilobytes 4, 17 rr for 17 kdx beer, 18 px kd, 18 qx beer, 19 qr7 chapter, 19 kb2, 20 rr6 plus l 9 after 600, 6 kdq2, 7 p kilobytes 4, 7 p kilobytes 4, 8 kdq2, 8 qkdx kd, 9 ppx kd, 9 bk2, 10 qr5 chapter, 10 pkkd3, iiqr dollars, iiq-q2 as played in a little match between Mackenzie and Blackburn. The game is even. L 9 ish 6 dot p kilobytes 4, 7 bx kd, 7 ppx b, 8 qkd5 chapter plus L 9 better than 8 p kilobytes 4, 8 qb square, 9 rk square, 9 pkkd3 with a good game. L 9 the move in the text enables black to castle and is necessary for if 8 00, 9 kdx beer, 9 b x kd, 10 qx b, 10 rk square, iiqxq plus, and if 8 p kilobytes 3, 9 kd6 plus L 9 if 10 dot p kkd3, iikdx kdp, iibpx kd, 12 bx beer, 12 rb2, 13 dxr chapter, 13 box b, 14 oks, 14 bb square, if 14 kd63, 15 qkd3ch, 15 krsq, i6rxb, 16 kdxr, 17 qk5 chapter, and wins 15 kdx with more than an equivalent for the adverse to minor pieces against the r. L 10 7 rk square or qk2 may also be played with advantage. L IO or 8 dot p kilobytes 4, 9 page 63, 9 px beer, 10 rx beer plus L IO. White has the majority of pawns on the king's side with the option OL opening the kilobytes filed by p kilobytes 3, and he has also an entrance for his pieces at k5. All these advantages combined more than outweigh the adverse to bishops, especially as black's QB has little scope for action and therefore constitute a superiority for white. L II as the QP is the usual mark of white's attack in this form of opening, it is better to keep Q file open in order to provide an additional defense and eventually a counter-attack against the adverse QP, which generally becomes isolated. L II 9 page 65 would not be good, for black replies 9 pqkd3 and if 10 pqkd4, IOP, QR4, IIPX IIRPX beer, 12 px beer, 12 qx. With the superior game. L 12. The same variation arises of course also by the transposition of black's last two moves. 35. L 12. If 12 underscore 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 pqkd3 the answer 13 rk square is still stronger as it threatens px beer followed by bk4. 36. L 36. OR 12. Rk square, 13 px beer, 13 qx beer, 14 qb kilobytes 4, 14 qq square, 15 pq5, 15 kdr4, i6 kilobytes qkds 37. L 12. Continued 13. Pkr3, 14 6 circumflex accent 65, 14 bxb, 15 qxb, I dollars px beer, 16 pq dollars, percent. R for I7 pq6, 17 px beer, 18 rxb plus I24. Petrov's defense. 125. 38. L 13. If 9. BQKD5, 10 BXKD, 10 BXR, up speed F. 39. L 13. This is sound enough now, for black has no time to break up the pawns by PQKD3. Compare next note. 40. L 13. If 10. PQKD3, IRQR4, NBQ2, 12 kilobytes QKD5, 12 QKD square, 13 KDK, 5, by 3 BXB, 14 QXB chapter, 14 KB square, 15 QKD63 plus. For it 15 px beer, 16 qkd7, 16 qkd, q2, 17 kdb6 and wins. 41. L. 13. If 12 kdk square, 13 qkd3 wins a p with a safe position. 42. L. 13. Might be continued 15 kdk square, 16 pqr4, 16 page 64, 17 pkd5, 17 px beer, 18 px beer, 18 kdkd square, 19 kdk dollars plus. For after the exchange of queens, white will easily protect the qp by kdk2 if necessary, and obtain the superior position by rr square. L. 14. Or 10. Kilobytes qkd5, ubxkd, uqpxb 11. Bpxb, 12 kkdk 12 bxkd. 13 kdxb, 13 qk2, 14 pxb, 14 qxkd, 15 qrs chapter, plus 12 pq5, 12 pxkd, 13 rxb chapter, 13 kq2, 14 qxb plus. L. 14. If iiq 12 pxb, 12 bxb if 12 qxb, 13 page 64 followed by 14 pq5, wins, 13 kdk5, 13 kdxkd, 14 rxkd and wins, for it 1400, 15 qk2 wins a piece, as besides rxb, white also threatens rxqb, followed by kilobytes qb4, or if 14 bk3, 15 q, k2, 15 kb2, 16 rxb, followed by 17 kilobytes qb4 wins. L. 14. Continued, 16 qk square, 17 qrkd square, 17 pqkd3, 18 qr3 plus. 46. L. 15. If 9. Kd64, 10 kilobytes qkd5, 1000, ubxkd, 11 pxb, 12 kdk5, 12 bq2, 13 kdr4 plus. 47. L. 15. The best answer to 11 kd64 is 12 rxb. 48. L. 16. It is we believe quite safe for white here to confine the adverse pieces by 10 page 65, followed immediately by pqkd4. 49. L. 16. The above moves occurred in the well-known correspondence game between Paris and St. Petersburg. But at the present point the game proceeded. U page 63. 12 bxkd. Of course if 12 qx are the reply 12.qb2 confines white's q which must be ultimately lost 4 to rooks in a position favorable for black 12 pxb, 13 kdkt dollars, 13 qb kilobytes for 14 qkd 63 plus 50. L. 16. Or 12 qxkd, 12 pxb, 13 qkd5, 13 pq7, 14 qkdxb, 14 rkd square, 15 qq3, 15 kdxkd, 16 kdxkd, 16 bq4 with a strong attack. 51. L. 16. Continued, 15 qr6, 15 kdkd5, 16 qr4, 16 page 63, 17 pqr3 if 17 kdxb, 17 pxkd, 18 kdk6, 18 qk square plus 17. Kdq6, 18 kdxb, 18 pxkd, I9 qb6 if 19 kdk6, 19 bxbch, 20 kdxb, 20 qq3 chapter plus I9 bxbch, 20 kdxb, 20 kdxb, 21 qk6 chapter, 21 k rsq, plus 52. L. 17. If 7 pqb4, 7 pxqp, 800 or 8 pxb, 8 bkd5ch, 9 kb square, 9 qxb plus 8. Kkd63, 9 kdxb, 9 pxb, 10 bxb, 10 bk to even game. 53. L. 17. 7. Page 65, 8 bxkd, 8 pxb, 9 rk square, 9 page 64, 10 kdks, 10 bk3, then qr5 chapter, iipkkd3, 12 kdxb, 12 b62, 13 qxbp, 13 bx kd, 14 qksch dot plus 54 l 17. The piece is lost anyhow for it 10 kk to iirx kd and wins 55 l 18. The same line of play as here proposed may also be adopted for 6 kd 63 56 l 18. 7 bkd 5 is of no use on account of a qk square chapter followed by kdk 5, and if 7 b 64 8 bx 8 kdx 9 qk to chapter 9 bk to 10 qkd 5 chapter plus 126 Petrov's defense. Page K4 Petrov's defense 127 L 19. Quite as good at least is 7 qkd 83, with the probable continuation 7 qpx kd 8 kd q5 greater than 8 qq3 9 px 9 px b kilobytes 4 lop 63 uoon kd 63 or kdks also gives white the advantage n. Px kd I2 rx 12 qk kd3 13 rx b chapter 13 kq square 14 rq dollars ch 14 bq2 15 qks 15 qqkd3 16 kilobytes qkds 16 kb square ish 16 kd 63 17 qk6 etc 17 krq square and wins l 19 8 qpx kd 9 kdq5 9 qq3 10 px 10 px px q63 or n kdx iiqb kilobytes 4 plus or qx I to kdx ch dot plus 12 kilobytes qkds plus l 19. We consider this better than 9 ppx 9 px which in some contingencies gives black more freedom for his kilobytes. L 19. Equally good is 10 kdxq 10 kdxq kdqs ukq square 12 bq3 12 page 63 I dollars bx kd 13 px kd 14 bxqp hpxqp 15 bq2 followed by 000 which will soon win the p with a fine position. L 19. If io qsq ukdx kd iipx kd by 2 ppx 12 bpx 12 qpx 13 px 13 px if I3 qx I for qxq h circumflex accent xq asterisk 5 bkd 5 chapter 15 bk to 16000 chapter and wins 14 bq to plus 1300 13 bkd2 14 pkr4 14 kr3 15 qkd6 plus l 19. This check is of importance before taking the r, and its object is to drive the adverse kd2 where he blocks his own r which otherwise would help to obtain a strong counter-attack. If, for instance, 14 qxr at once, then 14 qbkd2 15 qx 15 pxqp dis. Chapter 16 k62 16 qks 17 krkd square 17 krkd square etc. Whereas, after the move we propose, black's best answer is clearly 14 kd2, whereupon 15 qxr is quite safe, for it 15 bkd2 16 qx 16 pxqp chapter 17 kb2 17 qks 18 krkdsq is kxq each 19 kk square 19 qks chapter 20 kq square plus l 20. This move in conjunction with black's next fully equalizes the game. L 21. We consider this better than 8pqb4, to which black's best reply is 8pq3 65 l 22. Keeping the center compact, whereas 7 page 64 would loosen it in a manner that might cause trouble in the ending. 66 l 23. White cannot get out of his weak center piece, and the two bishops will also give black the superior game after he develops his pieces. L 24. After qxbch 6 bk3 6 KDKBs, QQ2, 7 KDXBA peak skate white has better. Game, 4 black cannot now play for stopping the center piece as in the previous column. If, for instance, 8. P kilobytes 4, 9 KDB3, 9 QK2, 10 KDQS, 10 QQ square, 11 PK asterisk, 11 PX 12 QK3, 12 B64, 13 KDB2 with the better game, for it 13. Page 63, 14 KDX 14 PX KD, 15 KDXQP double chapter, 15 KQ2, 16 KDXB, 16 BKDs CH5 7 KQ square, 17 RK square, 18 BKDs CH, plus 128 Petrov's defense. 25 KDK side RFP slash PK4, IPK4, 26 9 KKDB3, FL, 27 B3, 2829 BB4, 75 30 KDX KDB3 .BB for chapter BKD30 B negative 0.368 0 OR chapter RQPX KD on BK3 opus underscore kilobytes 3 76 RBXB chapter C02077 UKR DKXBQ K278 7 circumflex accent colon 1 circumflex accent NV RB square K tilde K square 131 slash KB2 exclamation point BPQ for KKD square PB3 page 83 QR5 chapter fluid QBKKD5 B30 BK271 OKQSQ page underscore Q380 T0070 Q00 RK square chapter 1 R square KQ39 KDQ2 opus Q for then QKS chapter then QKD3 chapter for QR 72 grams BK379 NB 81 UBK3 BXB 7310 QQ for 13 KDQ2 plus 74 KD pounds circumflex accent all QB2 QXB KDQ 4 grams 62 QKD4 TR3 K.TB2 page kilobytes for 14 P underscore KKD3 TR KDB3 PKB for 1 QR3 plus 8S column 26 move 7 KK3 black column 30 move 15 P kilobytes for black white 1 KDK and LFS1 greater than I 129 18 L 25 we prefer this to 6 QK square chapter recommended by some authorities for after 7 KB square 7 BQJ 8 PQ for followed by BKD3 and PQB4 black will have difficulty to get his K into safety and his Q is also not well placed 19 L 25 white's surplus of 3 pawns is divided on the 2 wings and his 5 pawns to 3 on the queen side are weakened by the double pawn n greater than L 26 or 8 QK. 8K 63 9 PQ3 9 KD 64 10 Q 63 chapter 10 KK3 plus L call 27 black evidently cannot venture on 8 KDX on account of 9 QR5 chapter followed accordingly by QQ's CH or RKSCL L 27 stronger than the authorized QKD 63. White's aim is either to drive the adverse king back to the last row before black's KR can get into play, or else to get a third piece, which, considering that white has all his pawns on the board, must become very formidable in the end. L 27 if 10 KB square KDQ2 followed by P kilobytes 4 with a strong attack. L 27 continuation 13 RKSQ for 13 page 63 14 P kilobytes 4 14 KDKS 15 page 65 15 KDB2 16 KDK4 with an excellent attack 14 64 14 KDKS 15 page 65 15 KDB square if I5 KDKD for 16 PKR4 and wins, 16 KDK4, 16 KKD square, 17 PB6, 17 PX 18 and wins. L. 28. The same position may arise by a transposition of moves in the kilobytes opening after IPK4, IPK4, to B64, to KKD63, 3 KKD63, F6. L. 28. The only move to maintain the peak gained, and though white obtains apparently a strong attack, black by best defense ought to be able to get out with advantage in position and material. L. 28. 6 KDX would be bad on account of the rejoinder 6. QK2. But of course if black reply 6 PX at once, white would win by 7 QR5 chapter. L. 28. Better than 6. POJ, 7 KDR4, 7 QK2, 8 QR5 chapter, 8 KQ square, 9 page 64, 9 KD63, 10 BK3 with a strong attack. L. 28. If 9 KD6, 9 QK square, 10 BQ3, 10 BK2 and wins. L. 29. Clearly necessary as white threatens. L. 29. By this move black avoids all the complications suggested in our next column and prepares for the strong advance of PQ, for which will give him the superior position as white's kilobytes will be reduced to inactivity. 12. L. 30. Continued. 16. PKS, 17 KDK5, 17 QBQ4, 18 Q4 followed by KDXKP. It is however noteworthy that white, instead of retreating the Q given in our main column, might attempt to sacrifice her, and we believe there is only one line of play to save black's game, e.g. 16 PX, 16 PXQ, 17 PX chapter, and now it's 17 QK3, 18 PQ7 chapter, 18 K62, 19 KDKD5 chapter and wins. Or if 17 KDK3, 18 KDKS, 18 BX, 19 KDXQ, 19 664 CH, 20 KR, square, 2 XKD, 21 Q7 chapter and wins. But after 17 BK to 18 BXB or 18 PXB, is KDQ for, etc. 18 KDK3, 19 KDKD5, 19 Q64, to OKT XKD, 20 KQ2, black ought to win. 130. Page K4 IPK4, 31 KDB3 32. RQPXKT opus kilobytes 3 no QOQK2 and RK square. Petrov's defense. 9 KKDB3 KKDB. 33. PQ3. 34. KDXP. 35. QK to 96. KDXP. 36. BK3. OKBGB4. BKD3 97 page Q3 88 9. Chapter. Page underscore B3. NQBKKD's OQ underscore Q3. BQB4. KQ square 00. 7QKD5 chapter. 7QXKD slash P drive greater than slash QQPQB3. QXKD to 89 OQXKDKDXKD dot RKSQ. And QXBPOC circumflex accent T. Then circumflex accent greater than H. NRB square 90 00 circumflex accent B circumflex accent 94 QBKR6. QK to page Q4. 10. KDK5 RK8 chapter. BK to RQ circumflex accent. QB2 KDX 84. KDK6 tilde 1 circumflex accent K. RKSQ. Next JLVOBN. TNVA circumflex accent J. 9 Lu KG2 tilde 1 UKUSQ. Negative for QKD4CH. For JB tilde B4. QXKBP chapter. Then QXB. 92 UKB3. BQ5 chapter. D. And QR5 chapter. LUT KD3. KDX KDP. Q2 lutetium B1. KSQ. 860 KD93 QK4 chapter. QXBCH. 15 by equals. Chapter. QK8. Q2. PRK square dot plus XY QV ID redoit 13 BKDSQ 10 KB4 UQKD4 square dot plus BK3 chapter 41 15 KD4 PR for CH dot plus 95 85 IQ Q2 plus 87 column 31 move 16 RKSQ black column 34 move 12 BQ5 chapter black white white Petrov's defense 131 83 L 31 the attack is not lasting enough for such a heavy sacrifice 84 L 31 much stronger than 12 BXB 12 PQ for 13 KDX 13 BK3 14 KD6 14 PX 15 QXB 15 QXB etc. 85 L 31 ish 16 dot BXB 17 QK8 chapter 17 KQ3 18 QKS chapter and wins Thek for it 18 KQ2 19 QK6 chapter and makes next move 86 L 32 obviously white's best chance of continuing the attack if 13 KDXR 13 QXB and wins 87 L 32 continued 17 B64 chapter 17 KD3 18 BK3 chapter 18 864 and wins L 33 obviously black dare not capture the KD on account of 7 DX chapter 7 KK2 L 33 a new and feasible defense but black's game is already too much compromised L 33 or 9 BX KD 10 QRs 10 PKR3 11 BQ2 L 33 if 10 dot QK/3 or K square white answers with still greater force and RKSQ dot and obviously if 10 QK2 or 63 then 11 BKD5 and wins 92 L 33 if II dot BK2 12 PKKD4 12 QB square for 13 dot QK3 14 KDB6 chapter or if 13 dot Q63 14 BKD5 plus 13 QQ5 plus 93 L 33 obviously white threatens to win at once by KDQ for 94 L 34 or 9 BKD5 10 RXQ 10 BXQ then BKD dollars chapter 11 KB square 12 RXB and black dare not capture the R on account of the impending mate by RQ8 Gossip's Manual 95 L 34 white mates into moves. This variation is given by Stanton 96 L 35 if for KDX for PQ for 5 BKD3 5 QKD4 600 6 QX 7 RK square 7 kilobytes QB4 8 QK dot 8 QBKKDs 9 QXB 9 BXB chapter 10 KB square 10 BXR QB8 chapter UKK to 12 QXR 12 KD6 chapter 13 PX 13 DXB plus German handbuch 97 L 35 or 6 PQ3 6 KDX 7 BKD5 chapter 7 page 63 8 KX 8 QKD3 CH.F 98 L 35 black threatens R kilobytes square followed by RX with an irresistible attack 99 L 36 ish 6 dot BXB chapter 7 KB square 7 BKDs 8 BKD3 8 QK2 9 BX 9 QX 10 QX 100 L 36 if 9 P kilobytes 4 9 KD63 10 QK4 10 RK square UKQ square UKDX KD stronger than UQR5 to which white may well reply 12 PQB3 not 12 QKDQ2 on account of I2 dot BKD5 chapter 13 QKD63 13 Q67 etc. and after 12 dot BKD5 chapter 13K62, 13Q67 Chapter 14KDQ2, Black threatens KDX and retains his piece with a good game. 12PX 12, 13QXQ best for Black threatens QR for CH. 146 KD5 CH dot plus 132 Petrov's defense. Gamel Dufresne Potter Mason dot PK4 Petter greater than Key S defense. 133 Potter v Mason 1 Lame by 8 dot B kilojoules is the usual move here. See continuation in call. 16 2 Lame by we prefer 10px for after UBXB chapter UKR square. Black would have the best of the game as he threatens PKKD3 and will be able to defend the QBP, which ought to give him the superiority in the end, while White's King's side attack presents no danger if well taken care of. 3 Lame by an error of which the opponent takes advantage in a very ingenious manner. 4 Game I sound and brilliant. 5 Game I it was not wise to effect this exchange, for in certain eventualities he had the prospect of bringing this B to kilobytes 4 or KD3 via E.4, and at any rate, the retention of this B would have made White's attack more difficult. 6 Game I an important move for the attack and one of great depth and insight into the game. 7 Game I White's fine I8DH move had provided against any attempt at releasing himself by 19. RK square, at this juncture, for then would follow 20 RXR chapter, 20 KVXR, 21 BR, chapter, 21 KR square, 20 to be KD chapter, and maybes into more moves. 8 Game I an exceedingly beautiful coup which wins by force. 9 Game I it was irrelevant what he did, for he could not have saved the game. If for instance 20 KVXR, 21 PX 21 BXKP chapter, 22 KR square, 22 BX 23 QXB chapter, 23 KR square, 24 RX and wins. Of course, if 20 BX 21 RK3 and wins. 0 Game high for it after 24 QK8 chapter, 25 RB square, 25 QXB chapter, 26 KR square. Black must give up the Q for Katie and his game is then hopeless. Mackenzie v. Hammond. 11. Game 2. This early exchange of pawns has the disadvantage that it gives Black an open QB file and allows his QK to occupy the better post at QB3 than he could otherwise obtain. White's QBP is also weaker than Black's QP. Game 2. QKD63 was preferable. Game 2. An error that exposes him to the loss of a P and to any resistible attack. Game 2. Move 13 DXB chapter at once was much stronger and would have won the P, for it 13. KXB, 14 KDKKD's chapter, 14 KKD3, 15 QXB, 15 DXB chapter, 16 KRSQ, 16 P kilobytes 4, 17 QR3, 17 KDQ2, 18 QXB, 18 RR square, 19 KDR3 and wins. 15. Game 2. Of course Black ought to have retreated his BQ to 16. Game 2. Excellent play. White holds his grip on Black's position with firm hand. 17. Game 2. Overlooking the very neat finish, but his game was gone. Schiffers and Tskaborn v. Halipin and Petrovsky. T. Game 3. The White allies rely too much on the apparent strength of their I4th move, but as will be seen, their calculations are overreached by a further deep combination of their opponents. Greater than. Game 3. The only correct move. If 15b62, 15bx80, 16pxb, 16kdxb, 17qq square, 17 kdxb and wins Dufresne. D. Game 3. 15qq2, 16b62, 16bx80, 17pxb, 17 kdxb, 18qq square, and Black dare not capture either KD or B. Dufresne. I-21. Game 3. Of course if QXB to reply PQ5 wins. The rest is easy. Continued on page 130 for Petrov's defense. Game note. I. Move 21. K3. Black Mason. Game number 2. Move 17. RX. Black Hammond. White Potter. White Mackenzie. Game number 3. Move 14 P kilobytes 4. Black ALATINMPETR OFFSK. Game number 4. Move 26. RQ7. Black Lightning. I8. I*. Lean. White Schiffers and TSCHIGORIN. White Morphe. 1 KDKOKFSDIFKNCE. 135. Continued from page FJJJ. Morphe v. Lichtenstein. Game 4. A favorite counter-sacrifice and invention of Mr. Lichtenstein, but certainly inferior to KDX. Game 4. Not good on general principles. Earn 4. Quite justifiable, as white is not in need of castling on the king's side and may safely prepare an attack on that wing. Game 4. This is quite as compromising as unnecessary. This very P furnishes a mark for the hostile attack. Game 4. We consider 10 PKKD4 at once stronger. The likely continuation was 10 KDR2. If 10 KDQR4, 11 PKDs, 11 PX, 12 KDX with a strong attack, 10 PKD5, UPX. This is best now, for white would otherwise advance PKD6, 12 KRKD square, 12 BK2, 13 KDQ5. With an excellent game. Game 4. Well played. After getting rid of the adverse kilobytes, he can guard himself against the breaking in of the adversary on the king's side. Game 4. It would have been better to retreat KDR2 at once. Game 4. The delay in advancing PKD5 was unnecessary and even disadvantageous, for he will have forced an opening on the KD file / which would have been sure to be more useful for the attack than the plan adopted anon. Game 4. It should be noticed that unless black had previously exchanged the adverse kilobytes or moved his king, white could now proceed with PKD6 effectively. Game 4. The sacrifice of the P is hazardous and in fact unsound, but it was very difficult for the opponent to steer clear of all difficulties afterward. Game 4. R continued with ingenious energy and spirit. Obviously if black take the KD, the replied KDB6 chapter or PKD6 wins. Game 4. An error of judgment which drifts him into further difficulties. The right move which would have won was 22 KDX, for if 23 RX KD, 23 QXR, etc., or if 23 BB6, 23 RX KD and wins.